the executive producer of Black Journal, Tony Brown.
I never dreamed I would ever work in television. I said over and over again, it's a series about black people for all people. And we aimed at blacks, but we told the story of black people as a part of humanity, not as something separate sitting over in a marginalized environment, but as people who do the same thing anyone else does. We want to see a program on sometimes they stumble, but they always try to get back up. Tony Brown's Journal / Black Journal was the first and only black public affairs series in the history of American television. It was broadcast weekly, beginning in 1968.
Thank you. This is our 7th year of Black Journal, and like most things, we try to grow and change. In 1968, Black Journal was born out of the strident riots of the, let's say, the phase of street rebellion.
When I started out in television stations had almost 0 producers, 0 black faces on the air. As a matter of fact, there weren't many stations around the country that had black janitors. It was apartheid to the max. I remember a friend of mine, Saul Plofkin, in college, who was white and Jewish. And he said one day, he said, you know, this was in Detroit, Wayne State University. He said, you know, Tony, Detroit should have a black television host. He said, I think you're the guy. I said, good, let's go out to one of the stations and ask them, you know, if they'll let me do it. So we went out to one of the local stations, and the man was very friendly who was talking to me. Matter of fact, he was nice to even talk to me. He started laughing uncontrollably. Tears were coming down his cheeks. And he said, please excuse me for laughing, but I've never heard anything that funny in my life. I think one of the things that 13 does not do enough of, if any, and that is to tell the story of how 13 really made and enabled remarkable progress for Latinos, for blacks, for Asians, for groups that are now just automatically included. You know, if you look at anything today, the first law of nature is that nothing can be produced from nothing. Everything that exists had to be produced from something that already existed. So every idea is not a new idea. Every idea is an idea that someone has had in some form that perhaps you've reformulated. 1968, 13, and it was called then WNET, was the epicenter of racial justice in broadcasting in America. The reason for the longevity of Tony Brown's Journal / Black Journal is that we told the story of a group of people so that all of the people could understand that we're all simply the same face behind different masks. I came to 13 to visit a friend of mine named William Greaves, who is black, who at the time was the executive producer of Black Journal. He said, look, I got a couple people I want you to meet. And he introduced me to Bill Coben and Don Dixon. They had decided to offer me the job of the executive producer of the unit called Black Journal. And so that's how I got here. They noticed me and saw the things I was doing on television in Detroit and the other things that I was doing in the community. I can't think of a better day than the day when I was made executive producer of Black Journal. I believe in fairness, I believe in humanity, and I believe that all people should be respected. And I will say that, and I will behave in that manner, no matter what anybody says, one way or the other. Of your 40,000 genes, only 6 of those 40,000 genes determine the way you look and your skin color. So there's no science behind anything that's separative. When I came to 13, I came with those ideas. I organized the largest civil rights march held in the history of this country, and it was led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and I did that in Detroit. So that was long before I came to 13. So I was seasoned in terms of wanting to see this great nation become the great nation that it can become. Soul was another example. I used to tell Ellis Hazel every day I saw him, I said, Ellis, you've got the perfect vehicle for commercial television. It's music blacks are creating. It's the best music, perhaps, in the world. Why don't you go commercial? Well, somebody else must have heard me talking, because there was another show that went into syndication with the name Soul in it even, that became an iconic program, and particularly among black people. And I've always said black people and white people are basically the same. Most of us are average. We have a few geniuses and a liberal sprinkling of fools. That's true for white people, it's true for black people, it's true for polka dot people. I don't care who you are. That's why nobody's good or bad. We're good and bad. And that's the emotion that this series touches. It doesn't just try to make scapegoats out of one side or the other. That's called demagoguery. And it doesn't work. During that time, there were a number of programs that motivated the public. Particular segments of the public wanted to help people understand their country, wanted people to understand people they had never met. And Black Journal was one of those programs, and it was aimed at the black community. Ironically, my audience on Black Journal was 60% white. There were 3 white people watching Tony Brown's journal, Black Journal, for every black person watching it. Tony Brown's journal evolved from Black Journal, and then Tony Brown's journal remained on the air for 34 additional years. So it's really one show connected mainly by myself, one idea stream, one thought, one mission. And I said over and over again, it's a series about black people for all people. They feel good when you're trying to include everybody in the equation, but not sacrifice the truth in doing so. I use media so that it could help empower other people. And that's why I say that I deserve the title Television Civil Rights Crusader, because I did use television to crusade, so that other people could fulfill their dreams as well as me fulfilling my own. What are my favorite programs? Because I've done 1,000 programs under Tony Brown's Journal alone. Now, if I said I liked the show I did with Lena Horne better than the show I did with Angela Davis, then I would have 999 enemies, and I love all 1,000 of them. But I do remember memorable moments.
This is the first national television interview for Angela Davis since she was acquitted of kidnapping, murder, and conspiracy in connection with the Marin County Courthouse shootout that took place 2 years ago. Sister Davis, let me welcome you to Black Journal.
Around my case means that there can be more victories. And all of the people, all of the sisters and brothers who came together in an organized fashion in order to demand my freedom can see now that it's possible to free more political prisoners and to do something about the oppression.
Your 3 E's.
Well, my point is that we must be ethnic, which is our blackness, accept our African roots, our African heritage, get all of the psychological self-esteem that we need out of being black. Have our natural hairdos and our symbols of blackness, but you got to go beyond being ethnic. You must also be ethical. Cain and Abel were ethnic. They were 2 brothers, came out the same mother's womb, but they were not ethical, and so they killed each other. So in addition to being ethnic, you must be ethical, but beyond that, you must be excellent.
The way that 13 addresses public affairs related to the black community is unique, and I am evidence of that uniqueness. They did not try to control me. They let me find my own limitations and boundaries, and they let me soar on those few occasions when I could achieve it. Tony Brown's Journal ended in 2008 because Tony Brown just got tired of doing it. I don't believe in people taking people's places. I think we earn what we are. I don't think Muhammad Ali could have chosen his successor. Someone had to box their way up to the championship. I have no regrets, none. I got everything I wanted, plus something. And I got it because I did what I wanted to do. Don't take that from anyone. Don't try to shape them into this role model business. I think is in many ways distorted. Don't try to make a person into someone else. Try to help them find out how to be the best person they can be. They're unique. There's nobody else like you or me. You know, we're the only ones with our fingerprints. We're the only ones with our footprints. We're unique in nature. There's not anything else in nature that's the exact replica of us. Let us be that. So let black people be what they want to be and don't hold their skin color against them. If they want to go into programming that's oriented to black people and you got a way to help them, help them. If that's not a part of your agenda, then let them find an environment where that is a part of the agenda. I think 13 has always done an exemplary job of inclusiveness, and the blacks who came into the 13 family found a home doing something other than black programs. In general, 13 is important because it is, in my opinion, the epicenter of fairness. In my opinion, 13 is a grantor of opportunity. In my opinion, it helped shape my life in a direction nothing else was prepared to do.